Well, hey there team, and welcome back to the channel, and welcome to Starbase. So this game, look, it's having a rough launch. It's got an MMO kick to it. They're rolling out patches non-stop and trying to fix it over the course of the weekend, but I'll tell you what, despite all of its jank, I'm in love with this game and I can't stop playing it. It is so good. Now, funnily enough, I'm supposed to have a ship in this menu and it got eaten, so we're gonna have to reset that. Fortunately, it was just the starter ship that had only been modded a little bit. We're running on slightly reduced settings as well because it is having all these issues. They recommend that you play this in windowed and low while they resolve things, so you can see we're getting some pop in with the textures there, but give it some time and that will all work out. So, what is Starbase? Starbase is, at its core, actually not very complex, though people that are here for stationeers on the channel and that, I think you're going to be right at home. I think this is the MMO for me. Excuse me. So, where to start? You start on an origin base like this, of which I think there are 20 or 30, and they encircle this huge planet. Now, you can't really see it because that fog is the asteroid field that encircles the bases as well. You can sort of probably see the planet down here. I reckon we could probably go for a float. Yeah, so there's the planet. And these bases are identical. You can pick whichever one to start. I think they've all got shared inventory, so it doesn't really matter, but it is a starter zone that's quite big, about 50 kilometers out before you leave the starter zone. So what do you do in this game? Well, you build ships out of an incredibly robust and complicated, like we're talking about power lines and fuel lines, all that sort of stuff as well, and a voxel based system where you shoot holes in other ships as well. So like it's all very, like the physics of it and the building of the ships is incredibly robust. That is the core of it. You go out and you collect asteroids out in that field. You can see them all out there, those little dots. You chop them up, you bring them back, you build more ships or you add upgrades to your ship, and you rinse and repeat. There's a research tree. Oh, apologies, I had to sneeze. And essentially, as you build more things, you like bits and bobs to put on your ship, you will unlock these basic resources, which can then be cashed in. Goodness gracious, can be then cashed in to make a ship, right? So unfortunately my starter ship got eaten, but there is a way to make the brand new starter ship respawn, and it only really had a couple of upgrades on it. The main progress that I was most worried about is this. Now I think there might be an insurance system for your ships a la Tarkov. I haven't figured that out just yet, but I probably should, just to save having to restart this ship, because it's the second time it's eaten my ship. So we're going to get into it. I'm going to show you some basic tutorial stuff to get the ball rolling. If you guys enjoy this, I would be happy to do multiple episodes. It is very much MMO. It's got EVE Online vibes to it as well. Hardcore PvP. If you take your ship out there and someone blows it up, they can take it, right? The big boy can bully you, and that's part of the beauty of this game, so it's not going to be for everybody. But if you want to join me up, maybe we'll make a company of squareheads and we'll cause all sorts of trouble. But I am in love with this game. Yeah, okay, so what you can do is if you go into settings and go tutorial, right, you can reset the tutorial, or you can actually just go straight to some of these. What I might actually do as a first sort of episode being that it is, I might just zip through some of these tutorials really quickly just to give you guys an idea of what's going on. So we're going over to this, geez, it's half a kilometer away, so you can sort of just float. You've got a backpack. It's the great unknown, very scary down there, isn't it? And they're all player ships up there. It's crazy, cruising around. But yeah, as far as like mining asteroids, you crack them open. I should have started walking before I selected this tutorial. My bad. I wonder if there's one that's closer, actually. Hang on. Mining jobs. Where is it? Where is my arrow? Oh my god. These dudes and they're driving. Okay, looks like it's all going to be over there, I think. Okay. Sorry, I'll just go and do this. We'll knock over the basics so I can give you an idea of what this game is. I mean, there's all sorts of magic games coming out these days that are they're rough, really rough, but they're ambitious, and the promise at the core of this game is so cool. So there's you have to build beams and you have to bolt them shut and all that sort of stuff. So there's this whole Newtonian system that governs your ship and like the stressors that go on it and the general stress across beams. So you can make a big old bloody, we're probably going to make cubes because we're squareheads, the Gronks here. Maybe we just have a fleet of cubes was suggested. But you can just fill up your ship with a shit tin of ore if you want, but it'll get really heavy, and then you start applying thrust, and then all of a sudden if you've messed up your design and it's not stable, your ship could tear in half. And so I guess you got to think, where do I fit into this economy? Am I just going to be a guy that mines? Because there's a whole, the mining game is fun, it's good, and it's all about trying to balance your speed, your capacity, you know, and then from there how much your ship can take as far as stress goes. What are you going to do if you get attacked? You know, because then there's the other side of the coin. You could be the bloody wolf out there, and your whole living is just hunting down big fat bloody ships. And I'm kind of really excited to see where that, like, I know it's all robots in space, but there's an animal kingdom sort of component to it that I really dig. Like, people are going to start coming up with clever ways to defend their ship at budget, you know, and then there are player-driven companies that make blueprints for ships and roll them out. So you're probably going to have like power creep and potentially affordable ships that can defend themselves against pirates, and then like an escalation of the pirates trying to circumvent whatever systems come up as well. I just think it's going to be such an interesting social study between the people that the sheep, I don't want to be disparaging, but the people that haul and the people that steal. And I really want to see how that interplay plays out. I want to be part of it. So, this tutorial, we've got a buzzsaw. I'll tell you what, hard space shitbreaker fucking eat your heart out as well. This collection area has sort of little gravity things, so you can come in here and you can harvest ships, and I think you can actually take odd jobs. See, it says mining jobs available beyond the tutorial. So if you're hurting for money or whatever, instead of going out into the belt, you can just do gigs here, sort of thing, because you could lose your ship entirely. So everything can be like you can see the damage. Look how granular the damage is on this ship, right? Little bolts, everything. Anyway, so we can cut that. And left click destroys the item. See how it cuts it like that? Whereas right click kind of detaches it. Yeah, see the pieces came off kind of unharmed. I think they came off unharmed. That does look like it's cut though, doesn't it? Not 100% sure there. Maybe, well, yeah, okay, no, it seems to destroy the item. It seems to destroy whatever it is you're right-clicking on. So essentially, if you get the weight down, there you go, it'll suck down into that. So it's basically got a ship-breaking thing, you know, without a shit-house narrative attached to it as well. Because that's what we all paid for, right, boys? Off that goes. Nice, right? So, you should get an idea of that. Apparently there's other gadgets here as well. What is this? What is this? Oh, I think it needs charge. Whoa! Oh, that's okay. Yes. Yes! I didn't realize this was in it. So this I need for cutting up asteroids. Anyway, so you can see, this is unreal. So we're gonna end up attaching bloody machine guns to our ships and blowing these fucking holes through each other. It's gonna be so fun. I'm actually really pumped. What is this? Inventory full. That's my station storage, by the way. I don't know, let's put the buzzsaw in the station storage, see what happens. Pick up magazines to refill the power tool. Oh, it seems we've run out of magazines. Oh, respawn. Power pack. Okay, well, hey, look, a little bit of mystery left open for us. So anyway, it just keeps spawning in hulls. You can get your head around cutting them up and all that. Pretty cool stuff. Let's go to the next station, the mining job. Teach you how to mine asteroids. So asteroids are really fascinating because out there, it's space, rendered in such a way that I haven't seen in anything like Elite Dangerous or anything like that. You know, all the asteroid fields are super dense. Now, it's endlessly empty, but there are sporadic asteroids out there, and it's terrifying. You have to tether yourself to your car, because if you fall off it, that's it. It's over. Like, this game is brutal and unfair, and I am absolutely in love with it. Anyway, let's grab the mining thing, right? So, generally, actually, have I got the U tool? I do too. So you see there, it says Valkite ore and Corasium ore, right? And you can sort of see how much in KV. Is that a value thing, I wonder? Anyway, so there's two types of swing with your pickaxe. One sort of just breaks it apart into pieces like that, right? And generally speaking, you probably want this sexier ore in the center. So if you start doing this, it sort of starts separating it out, right? In this particular case, there's a collection area, but that doesn't normally happen out in space. Now, the right click you put on these little nuggets, and it smashes them up into little farmable things. Now, what you need to do, your ship will have these tethers. It's a resource connector. In fact, you can see here, I have no connected containers. But once I connect to that, oh, how come I can't see them? I wonder what's going on there. But essentially this, it might be because it's a tutorial thing, but normally you'll see your ship's connected containers here through this tether, because magic, right? But it's those sort of red looking boxes, right? So now we start to suck in those little things automatically. So you break that off like that. Cool. Now you can actually harvest the other type of rock as well, and there are reasons to as well. There are times where you might even want the other more common resource more than the gooey nectar in the middle, right? But anyway, that should give you an idea of what's going on here, right? And there's all different asteroids with all different resources, and they're sort of a puzzle, right? So you can see there's the different things you can put on your little headlamp. Break that away. Maybe grab that out. Grab that out, you know? Break it up. And it's just fascinating as someone who, you know, is quite verbally... I really dislike a lot of mining systems in video games. Stationeers comes to mind. You know, they're more of a means to an end than actually something fun. You know, I feel like they get brushed over. This is fun, right? Okay, so what do we got next? Repair job? That's probably worth looking at as well. So we'll zip through some of these. Where are we going? 90 over there. I think the door was over here, so let's go here. Yeah, I might check out the little odd jobs as well. But gathering ore is not so bad. And I haven't left the start zone yet, because you only fly about 20 kilometers out, and then there's plenty of asteroids to farm up, right? So look at this thing. This thing's pumped through battle damage, all these holes. Now I'm assuming all the resources just fall out of the box, because when you drop resources, you can see them in my inventory there. When you drop them on the ground, they sort of look the same dimension as this box. So I guess they fall out. I'm not sure yet, but yeah, look at the battle damage all over. This engine's got exposure. And I wonder how much it goes in, because I know that there are like fuel lines and that. You can see this, and they can be cut. If a bullet clips that, it's over, right? But I wonder if, like, see the wall on this engine, but the internals seem okay. So I wonder if it's still good to go, but just exposed. Anyway, a lot of questions. Let's get a repair tool going. And then you can press U, that tool, the U tool, and it will highlight. You can see, if you turn it on and off, there's a bit of a blue highlight, and it gives you an idea of what needs repair, right? So you just spray it with this bloody magic gun. Look at that, and it replaces it. We're on the resource tether because these boxes will have presumably replacement bits and pieces. As you go around, you just sort of paint your pieces to put it back. And look, you have to put all these bolts in as well. I'm not 100% sure how it works. I haven't got that far, but like, I have seen videos where, depending on how many bolts you put down and where, that actually affects the way that it calculates the stress that's applied. So it's some pretty hardcore stuff, but ultimately, once you get your head around the system, kind of accessible as well, right? Let's kind of mesmerizing how you just paint it, you know? All right. And then I think there's some last bits somewhere. Oh, something over there up the back. It's kind of like Power Wash Simulator, in a way. I'm missing something, but I'm not that worried, to be perfectly honest. I just wanted to show it off really quick, because I've already played this before. Okay, now what we're going to do, let's see. Settings, ship controls, asteroid belt, crafting and easy build. We might not necessarily get to that. The easy build thing is a system where you can just snap add-on really simply onto your existing ship, but it's buggy, and that's what's actually eaten my ship a couple of times already. But you can go into a more robust build tool. It's inside the game, but it plays out like an actual tool, right? Like if you were using Premiere or Unity or something like that, right? And you can sort of manipulate in a 3D workspace and build there. It's probably the ideal way to do it, as opposed to trying to float around in first person and add bits on. So the easy build is probably a good baby's first to understand how ships work, but I would avoid it because that seems to be bugging out the most. I have found that if you go to... Well, actually, no, you need to finish this repair job. If you finish this repair job, and then it will automatically kick us on to the next tutorial. Devices. There's some, oh, it's this engine. What will happen is we'll be able to respawn the starter ship. Right? Spawning ship. Yeah, so I know it's fiddly, but that's the workaround that I found that's working. You can't just automatically go to this tutorial. You have to complete that previous one, and by doing so, you can spawn a new starter ship. Again, I'm pretty sure there's an insurance system. I just need to figure out how it works. So at least next time it eats my ship in the editor, I can just probably pay an insurance nominal fee to spawn it back. So there we go. There's the labor module, basic ship, spawn in. Let's see if it's going to come in quickly or if it's going to cause me trouble. We still have lots and lots of people, hey. Sort of like these little landing pads are an instance. Come on. Maybe I'll hold it down. Oh, and I streamed a little bit of this on the other channel, actually. You can look that stream up if you want while we worked it all out. But yeah, this is just one of the bugs that's sort of going on at the moment. I don't know, maybe logging out might help, I'm not sure. Give me my ship, damn it. Wow, look at that platform there. Alright, well, let's just log. We'll see if we can come back in. So yeah, look, bruises and all, it's not without its issues, and to be perfectly honest, it was much worse than where it is now, right? So, if you are going to be worried by that, I'd steer clear for sure. Having said that, anyone that's followed me on the channel, I pretty much do have a bit of a zero tolerance for broken games a lot of the time. This is getting a pass for whatever reason, because I'm human and because I like it, whatever. Here we go, there we go, she spawned properly. It is an MMO, and it is a single shard as well, so like, I can understand. So this is your starting ship, we can pilot there, you can tether on to these sort of things. You can see here, this is, I believe that's your propellant, which is sort of a form of fuel that makes your ship go that I don't think you can manufacture at all. This here is our fuel rod. You can actually pull it out with E, like that. And I need to be able to put it back in. There we go. You press C to make it snap. And so that turns the fuel rod into fuel. And these are our storage crates. We have 8, right? Spare fuel rods here in the back, in case you didn't realize. It took me a long time to figure all this shit out. And then you've got your boosters here at the back, right? So it's actually really basic bit ship, and that's perfectly fine for me, right? Generator's already fired up, and it's converting that fuel rod into power. Basically, the batteries don't have much capacity. You got your 6 degrees of freedom on these buttons, and you can actually mouse click them, which is pretty cool. But we don't need to do that. We're gonna get out of here ourselves, right? Off to the asteroid field. Oh, I need to tether in case this ship runs away from me. See, there's the other origin stations. It's not really big. Oh shit. It's not really difficult to get to them. How good is this music? Holy Jesus. It's very much like Time from Hans Zimmer. What the hell? Inception. So out we go into the great unknown. So the asteroid belt is so like misty, the visibility is low, and it's going to create some really interesting shenanigans. So this is an absolute bloody, you know, boxcar derby sort of shitbox car, right? It works, it goes. Transponder, I think, gives away your position up to like 100 kilometers maybe, so you got to be careful pressing that. I'm not sure, I need to look into the transponder. Not that we can really be attacked out here, we're still technically in the safe zone for 50 Ks. But, like, there's nothing. There's no readouts, no bloody nothing. Now it's getting creepy, you're going into the unknown. But I looked in the tech tree, and there seems to be all sorts of really interesting stuff under the sort of tool. No, it might be advanced. No, advanced is for building stations. But like here, right, diagnostic scanners, crafting benches. Oh, what else? You got guns over here, cargo lock frame. I don't know what half this shit is. Tractor beam. So there's going to be all sorts of quality of life stuff, but there were things like, chip diagnostic scanner. Oh, chip readers as well. So there's an internal coding language in this game as well that you can interact with. But essentially, your first steps are going to be to unlock all this basic stuff. I've unlocked these basic ones for cargo boxes and that. I want this so I can get more control tables. These are engines, fuel rods, cockpits. So you can't really replicate for a while this ship. This is all you've got, and you can just sort of start slapping add-ons onto it. So good. But I'm excited to create my own bloody monstrosities, which are probably going to be all perfectly cube-shaped. Because I'm a psychopath like that. But yeah, look how terrifying it is out there. Like the great unknown. Should be, yeah, but what I'm getting at is there's probably like all sorts of, I don't know, ways to locate targets if you're a dirty fucking pirate, which I plan to be at one point, I'm not going to lie. Well, a bit of both, man. I think you got to play both sides of the aisle. That's a ship, because it has an engine on it. Yeah, I'd be curious how, because this is all very mechanical, you know? I'm curious how much locking on you can do. Yeah, you can write code, I think, so it should be interesting. Maybe you can code your turrets and that sort of thing. That would be really cool. You can also build stations. I believe you can build stations inside the safe zone and outside the safe zone. There's different sort of anchor points in the advanced thing, I believe. Yeah, outside and inside, but that, look, they're a long way away. Yeah, the idea of just criming on people while they're hauling or trying to evade pirates as well. Oh man, it's so fascinating. Apparently, because this has been in alpha, I haven't touched it at all. Apparently they'd have big battles and you'd have entire factions of dudes that were just hyenas, you know? When the bloody dust settles, they'd come in with their specialized made scavenging ships to cut their ships to bits and take all the valuables and that. Oh, it's so cool, man. So, yeah. As far as an economy goes, there is an auction house. There is a a currency, like I've got 15,000 of it there, right? And so you can use that to interact with shops and so on. What's going on here? Oh, here we go. We've got some asteroids out here now. Just sort of bumping into other players, that's all. But it's not quite the economic giant and industry that I believe like EVE Online is. You know, it's a very, very different. I think it all just focuses around mining and controlling that, and apparently there's moons out there that you can go out to, but you'd need to create a capital ship that's got like a jump drive. Okay, so let's equip our pickaxe, and then we've got our tether, so we shouldn't go floating too far. All right, and we can break this apart, inspect it. It's probably ice and, well, hang on, if you press tab that frees your mouse. Material, see, that's just ice, but we've also got vocarium ore. And if I were to go into the build menu, I can't build anything like this. You need a crafting bench. I'm curious, maybe you can put a crafting bench on your ship. That'd be awesome, actually. But you can see there, it needs vocarium, basium, and you can see the 3 types of resources for research it gives you by building that module. So the system is robust, but kind of, do I say simple? Oh, you know what? Automatic collecting. Is that not turned on? There we go. Like, I talk about this all the time. You see these games, like, I don't want to bash on Star Citizen. I'm sure it's lovely. But there's no denying that game is just project management scope creep incarnate. And I'm sure a lot of these nerds have never done any project management. You know, and fair enough. I'm a nerd too, but I come from that world. If you're a guy that just programs code in your garage, you probably don't know the first thing about, you know, cornerstones of managing a project and managing exactly that, project creep, which is you just keep adding in features and expecting it to not fuck up your entire project that you probably, you know, laid out an entire budgetary plan and manpower, time, calendars, all this sort of stuff, all these components. And it's like, oh yeah, but you know what, let's make it so you can walk around in your ship or whatever. And then, you know, it really fucks your project. And I think a lot of these indie games that get sort of lightning in a bottle popularity start to do that and start to overpromise. And I kind of dig this game. Now, I don't know the history of it, right? I believe it's probably been in this state for a long time. I think I want this rock as well, to be honest. Agitate, or yeah, I need a little bit of it, but I don't think a lot. Because I think it's been in early access for a long time. I've been on their mailing list, so I'd see their emails occasionally come through and go, oh yeah, that looks like an awesome game, I'll play one day. But at the core, its scope is narrow. Mine the ore, steal the ore, kill the dudes, make really robust engineering problems solved with our system through coding, building, and building physics and mechanics, basically, or structural mechanics. And that's basically it. What is going on there? There's a box. Oh, someone's dropped some. That's what the ore looks like if you drop it. So someone else just dropped this. See how it's the perfect shape of the box? Yeah, so presumably when your box gets destroyed, maybe it falls out the side. I don't know. It's still a lot for me to learn. Still a lot for me to learn. Anyway, I'm gonna drive home. Might as well put a pin on this. Now, where'd those origins go? 31. I come from 1, but like, you know, it doesn't matter. It really doesn't matter. Like, they've got a shared inventory across bases. Oh, so back we go. And then, you know, we've got our ore in here. So one of the first things you probably want to do, you can see down on my hotbar, I've got little slotted, like, these little box holder modules. And I think they're sort of a more complex thing. So they've got a bit of sort of scaffolding, a bit of bulkhead on them, and cargo slots as well. So you can just snap those onto your ship and try and bolt them on, and then all of a sudden you'll have a whole bunch more inventory slots, so you can get more efficiency out of your trips. But you can also just build everything out of the raw, you know, rebar and just basic sort of girders and bits and pieces. So it's cool that it's got an approachable component, but it's also ultra granular. Like, you can build things at the most anal scale. Anyway, I'm in love with it. It's so good. Now what else? You can see our fuel's actually ticking down a bit, but yeah, the starter ship starts with a whole bunch of fuel core things, fuel cells, so you can just switch them out. Propellant you can pay for. You can hook your ship up to refuel to get power and propellant, but you don't really, well, you know, you don't really need power that much because you're generating that with your own fuel. And the propellant, well, you go through it quite slowly. And as far as like transferring to the station storage, once we're in proximity, we're about, you know, 2,000 kilometers, you can just drag it straight across. It's really not that complicated. It's incredibly accessible, I suppose, is probably the best way to put it. And so yeah, so we chipped away at some of the tutorials just to give you an idea, because it shows you what the game is. Crafting an easy build, technology, I brushed over those, but that's it. Like, what I have just shown you now granted, it took me a long time to get my head around it. I've been suffering through it over the weekend. Crashes abound, ships getting eaten. It's not without its problems, but right now we've just had a really stable experience. Like, touch wood, I've gone back into borderless window mode. I had to play it in windowed for a while there, and I've managed to turn the graphics up to like medium, but they were suggesting low. So there are workarounds, but it looks like we're actually coming out the other side, and maybe it's safe to... Well, I don't want to say that. Don't put the scarlet bloody rubber stamp of approval on it, but this is infinitely less unstable than it was a couple of days ago, for sure. But yeah, anyway, the mechanics I've shown you, that's it. That's everything. I suppose the only other thing is that there's a whole bunch of stations on the shops on the station, sorry. And, oh yeah, you gotta be careful. Just randomly smash into an asteroid coming out. That'd be interesting. The bigger your ship gets and the harder you go into the mist, that's scary stuff. You know, just run into a random asteroid. Yeah, so there's a lot of sort of clan shops here, guild shops that are player owned, and they sell all sorts of bits and bobs. And from what I understand, now I could be wrong because I'm not sure how you go with guns and things like that, right? You can see in the research tree tools and weapons. Like, I wonder if there's just a gun, right? Anti-gel rifle, Gauss rifle, you know, or like maybe there are faction guns. I don't know about that. But I think probably the big draw is that you can buy their blueprints from them to then manufacture a ship on said blueprint. I believe there's a system. I haven't really seen it. I can do free building, but I think if you were to load a blueprint, it will tell you what you need, and then you can just sort of fill in the dots and it will self-build perhaps. I'm not 100% sure on that, but I think that's sort of the main pull with some of these. This is a bit speculation, but that strikes me as the main pull with some of these shops, is that the idea is that they're manufacturing, you know, probably cheap, easy, efficient ships, and you can just pay the dollars for the blueprint and off you go. I read something in like a developer, or I saw in a developer video, how they were talking about, like, you might be able to steal someone's ship or hijack it or whatever and take it home, and it's a really cool ship, but that in no way means you'll be able to reverse engineer it. It's just the built ship as is. So if you want to give it a go, you can inspect it and start pulling parts off, because there's tools to unbolt and unweld everything. You can start trying to pull it apart and mimic it and build it back up if you thought it was a particularly cool design. So yeah, I guess the long and short of it is that this game is at its core basic, but the tools that it's given and the incentive to essentially, you know, destroy your fellow man and make him cry and take all his toys and then win because you have more stuff, that incentive is very strong for me. So yeah, I'm kind of smitten with this game. We'll get in there and I'll just show you the last sort of mechanics. I think at 2000 we might be able to access the ships. There you go, cool. So you can just double click and in it goes. Look at that, just like that. And I mean, you know what, let's go here. I think that's a refueling tower, that purple thing there in front of us. I'm using mouse and keyboard for the controls, but presumably you could probably use a gamepad or something like that. I don't know. I'm not really worried. I've got to wonder how you go on a dogfight using all these different buttons to control your 6 degrees of freedom. But who knows? So ore storage. Let's get in a little bit closer. Oops. Oh, it's multi-layered. That is very cool. Okay, so we'll jump out. No. Where'd it go? Here we go, let's go over here. If you look at something and press Q, you align yourself to that things, which is pretty cool. And then we'll be able to tether the tether so we can hook her up. And see there, you can buy some propellant if you want and buy some power, but you can see we're almost full. You can buy it, it's, you know, all green. And from here, you know, we could sell ore. What's going on there? I think if you go storage, there we go, we can sell all our ore there, right? So that's cool. But at the moment I'm sort of just hoarding it because I don't really have much of a use for the dollars and cents. Maybe I could look into buying ore that I need off of the auction house. But yeah, that's basically it, right? And I guess press despawn to despawn your ship. Try that out, see what happens. And there we go. Starbase. I'm smitten. Anyway, look, let me know what you reckon of that. That worked out fairly well. I think we covered the basics. I'm pretty happy with how that video turned out. This, I'm happy to turn into a Let's Play in whatever form it takes, all right? I know there's a whole bunch of weird engineering type people that follow the channel just like me, so keep an eye on this space, hit me up, you know, that sort of thing. I'll keep you posted if there's interest, because maybe we'll make our own little corporation of squareheads or gronks, the Gronk Corporation, something like that. And if people are interested in playing it with me, maybe we can do something with that. I'm happy to do this as a pseudo Let's Play, though as you can probably guess, this is a big grind. It's about grinding to get that, you know, your next ship and your big project. It's sort of like trying to Let's Play EVE Online. It's probably going to be tough. However, maybe I'll end up playing this on my downtime / streaming it and doing 30-minute episodes here and there. You know, sort of a pseudo Let's Play, let's progress together or something. I'm not sure, but let me know if there's an interest. I'm sure there's gonna be, because this, oh my god. When they release good games, when it rains it pours, because this, we got Hive Fleet, we got Carrier Command, we've got all sorts of things. We've got other things coming on the horizon as well. Oh my goodness gracious. RimWorld. It's a good time for the channel. It's a good time to be a gamer. Anyway, let me know your feedback around this and this game, and if you have an interest in, you know, pursuing it with me. Otherwise, I might just leave it there for the time being, and I will catch you guys on the next one.